Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for June the 1st, 2020. This was a taped edition of Monday Night Raw, and I must say, it felt like a taped edition of Monday Night Raw. But this is live. This might be an interesting live stream. You never know when it's live. Shout out to the chat room. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to everybody watching on demand as well. Let's go ahead and get started. We kicked off with Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. We had a recap of last week's show with Rollins going after Alistair Black and sending a message to Black and Humberto. The fans at the PC chanted, "You suck it, Rollins." He talked about this being a huge night because he does have a match with Alistair Black. And he brought up Rey Mysterio and how his gut feeling is that Rey will not be able to announce a retirement. And Rollins said that he would handle this for Rey. He'll make the announcement for Rey. And Rollins talked about how Rey is too modest to call himself a legend. Rollins said that Mysterio was chosen to be sacrificed for the greater good. And if that's not legendary, Rollins doesn't know what is. Rollins said that his duty is to appreciate Rey Mysterio properly, and Rollins did so by showing a video package. Some cool highlights throughout Rey Mysterio's career, but then, of course, the swerve from the heel's point of view when it comes to these video packages. The end of the video showed what happened on Raw when Rollins took Rey's eye and slammed it into the steel steps. Rollins then talked about how it would be his honor to induct Mysterio into the WWE Hall of Fame. And that's when Alistair Black had enough. He ran down to the ring, attacked Rollins, and we had our first match of the evening. For those of you that have been watching my reviews for a long time, you know what I think about promos that get turned into matches, and when 45 minutes of a show is dedicated to one person. So these guys are capable of having a really good match, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I just was tired of Seth Rollins before this match even began. It was fine. It was competitive. It was back and forth. It was very long, which is why I would have just preferred a match. Like, either do a promo and that's it for Rollins for the entire show, or do a match and that's it for Rollins for the entire show. Do we really need 45 minutes of Seth Rollins on this show? Apparently the answer is yes. Caleb Jacobs with a $64.86 super chat. Holy crap. Wow, thank you very much for that, Caleb. He says, "Sorry to go off topic. Rey Mysterio deserves the Hall of Fame." Hey, that's pretty much still on topic here. So thank you very much for that, Caleb. I really do appreciate it. And I agree with you 100%. Rey Mysterio, Hall of Fame, no brainer. So I think it's just a matter of time that we will see Rey. And there is an interesting twist in this storyline, which we'll get to in a few minutes here. Jesse said he left Raw Talk just to listen to me. I appreciate that, Jesse. Thank you for that. Unless Raw Talk is going the route of talking smack, I'm not too concerned about the competition. Brian Spencer with a $5 super chat. And by the way, do we really need more Seth Rollins on top of that? Just say it, because he's the guest on Raw Talk. So after 45 minutes of Seth Rollins, we want to hear even more Seth Rollins in one night? Brian says with a $5 super chat, thank you, Brian. This Seth Rollins gimmick is horrible. It's a bad straight edge society ripoff. Ouch. I mean, there are times where I think it has potential, but then there are times where I'm just dreading it. And this night was one of those nights. Maybe because it was a taped Raw, but I just was over Seth Rollins very quickly. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, do you want short TV matches and long pay-per-view matches? Yes. I've always been a proponent of that. Use your television to build up your characters, build up your storylines, and save the longer matches for pay-per-views. One problem, at least with long matches on TV, the commercial breaks. The commercial breaks kind of take away from it. Like you get into the groove of the match and then there's a commercial and you end up losing focus on what was going on. So in general, I'm not a fan of really long TV matches with a bunch of commercial breaks, but that's just me too. And again, if they're going to do it, do we really need the long-winded promo before the match? I'm not a fan of that on a 3-hour Raw when it's one guy that takes up 45 minutes of the show. Hamp Connell with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Hamp. Says, I'll bet WWE wishes they could manipulate the real crowd like they manipulate the current crowd. Yeah. I do feel, and I said this last week and I will still say it, I do think that the PC wrestlers acting as fans is an improvement, for sure. However, it still feels robotic, in my opinion. Now, to be fair to them, based on the stories that are out there, they were standing around, no chairs. Apparently, they did get to cycle in and out and take breaks, but they were out there for a long time. Remember, WWE taped 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown each, plus main event, 205 Live, and all that other stuff. So they were there for many hours taping all those segments. And then NXT on top of all that. I could see them getting burned out after a while and just phoning it in. But yeah, at least on this show, I mean, last week I think maybe it was not quite as obvious, but it really did feel like they were just very robotic in their movements and their reactions, like what you would see out of a video game. It was that robotic. And Buddy says, is Caleb Jacobs the Super Chat champion? That's only for no DQ&A video, but I'll tell you what. Caleb, you are the honorary no DQ world champion of this live stream. So there you go. TJS with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Tyler. He says, thoughts on Kevin Nash's Paparazzi Productions in TNA? Tyler, I'm going to have have a few words with you about going off topic. It was funny. Alex Shelley and Kevin Nash had some good chemistry, so I did like those segments. Anyways, we had this long match between Seth Rollins and Alistair Black. You had Buddy Murphy, and Austin Theory. Buddy Murphy. There you go. That could be the name of their team, Buddy Murphy. They were on the apron, they interfered, and then Humberto came out with a steel chair to even the odds. The Disciples attempted to interfere again, but of course Humberto was there. And Rollins had attempted to pin Alistair Black. It did not work. Black rolled up Rollins to score the 1-2-3, and Black was immediately attacked by the Disciples after the match. Humberto tried to help out, but it was 3-on-2. And Rollins hit the stomp to Humberto, and then Alistair Black got a curb stomp as well. For those of you that wanted more Seth Rollins, well, you could have tuned in to Raw Talk instead of watching me. You could still watch it on demand on the free version of the WWE Network. Yes, WWE Network has a free tier for those of you that have been dying to watch Ride Along and Raw Talk and whatever shows, Storybook Time, whatever they have there for the people that, want more WWE content to watch than what they already have. And whatever is not available on YouTube, which, there's a lot of stuff that you can already watch on YouTube. But it is out there, free tier of the WWE Network. We had a recap of Apollo Crews winning the United States Championship. Angel Garza and Zelina Vega were interviewed. And a recap was shown of Garza beating Kevin Owens last week. And during this interview segment, Charlie Caruso got a rose from Angel Garza. And when he walked off, Zelina Vega took the rose and ripped it apart. What a meanie. What a meanie that Zelina Vega is. We had a pre-taped promo from Shawn Michaels talking about the greatest wrestling match of all time. Talked about the pressure that Edge and Randy Orton have. HBK brought up all of his matches, all of his great matches, and he said he actually does think that Orton and Edge can deliver. And he went with Edge as his prediction for the show. Ken terminated by Google with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Ken. Says, F the WWE content, more no DQ content, Rift. Well, I already got a lot going on between this and all the other live streams and no DQ in a video. Do I really want to go the WWE route and just do way more than necessary? Sometimes it's all about quality over quantity. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, is Renee and Daniel Bryan hosting Talking Smack again? They should. Why not bring that back? That was so much fun. I actually tuned into Talking Smack when it was going on. It was that entertaining. Or maybe, it was entertaining, but also SmackDown was really good at that time. And I did enjoy tuning into Talking Smack back then. I was invested enough in SmackDown. And Talking Smack, those guys were cutting some great promos. I remember the Usos out there and Daniel Bryan with the hat backwards. And then, of course, the Miz's promo. Jinder Mahal even had a great promo on Talking Smack where he actually showed more personality than anything we've seen on him since. So, yeah. If WWE wants to get people tuning in, bring back Talking Smack. Forget about Raw Talk. We want Talking Smack, damn it. I agree with the Michael Wayne on that one. We had a recap. This is what happens when we have a taped show. We're now getting recaps of segments on the very same show. We had a recap of the Seth Rollins promo from earlier and the first match. In case 45 minutes of Seth Rollins wasn't enough, we had to get another recap of Seth Rollins. We had Apollo Crews come out. He talked about how it's still surreal to be the U.S. champion. Well, it was only 24 hours, so wasn't that much time. But, of course, it officially was a week, whatever. He then called out his open challenge opponent. He got to, it's not really an open challenge in the sense where somebody can just accept it. Apollo actually got to choose his opponent. Now, there's been talk about Dominik Dijakovic, that maybe he would show up on Raw. He even tweeted a photo of the U.S. title, but it was a swerve. The opponent was Kevin Owens. Owens came out and said he appreciates the opportunity. However, he wonders if it's just a pity title match. Apollo responded by saying that's not the case. It's about respect. Owens said if that's the case, then he'll take the match. And he feels bad about it because Apollo's going to have a short reign. Owens had a pretty hot start in this match. Got a near fall with a senton. But then he hit a shot that was kind of low. Not a full-blown low blow, but it was pretty low. And from this point on, the match took an intense turn. It wasn't quite as friendly. But then, just as things were getting heated with these two, Angel Garza and Andrade ran down for the DQ because, well, I guess they should be getting the match and not Owens, and they were pissed about it. And you know what this means, folks. When a singles match ends with people running down and there's a DQ, holla, 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 players, gets turned into a tag match. You guys know my rule. This is one of the forbidden angles that I do not like. So this Raw goes a letter grade down when we have a singles match end in interference and that turns into a tag match. Automatic letter grade down. We had the tag match and Garza went after the knee of Kevin Owens that he attacked last week. And Andrade attempted to steal a win here on Apollo Crews, but he failed. Even with his feet on the ropes, Apollo kicked out. And then Apollo hit the sit-down powerbomb to pick up the 1-2-3 over Andrade. So Andrade not getting a title match anytime soon unless he does, which, knowing WWE, Andrade could get another match even though he lost the title and then got pinned by Apollo. So yeah, we're probably getting Apollo versus Andrade for the U.S. title. Might even be the kickoff for Backlash. Who knows? I hope I'm wrong on that, but I'm thinking of like the dumbest booking decisions. So another Andrade Apollo match sounds about right. We had Asuka interviewed backstage, did her shtick, talking in Japanese, and then did say a few things in English. Said the Empress never bows down to anybody. We had the bowling segment with the Viking Raiders and Street Profits, the fourth week of seeing who can be the best at whatever competition they're doing. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, Lars Sullivan has more charisma than Jackson Riker. Well, I would say Lars Sullivan has more charisma than quite a few people, but who knows if we'll ever see him again. And Hamp Connor with a $2 super chat says, if it's Apollo versus Andrade in the kickoff, it could very well be the greatest kickoff match of all time. Yeah, they might have a shot at it. They very well could do that. So the Viking Raiders were dominating the bowling match. They brought out drinks that were on the house. However, the drinks were not what the Street Profits would normally drink, but rather goat's milk. Ha ha ha! So funny. And during the melee here, Ford dropped a bowling ball on Dawkins' foot. And then Ivar found a turkey leg in the machine that brings in the balls. And then after that, Ivar grabbed some turkey legs from the fridge. The lady worker there was not amused by this, but did not kick them out because she thinks Ivar is cute. Eric, not so much. So this is the running joke here. Ha ha ha. Street Profits decided they needed to change things up to come back in this match that they were losing. So they had the lights turned out, the cosmic bowling, more of their kind of vibe. And all of a sudden, they started turning things around. However, Ivar got in one more shot, one more bowling round, and ended up picking up the victory. I think it was like 131 to 130. And the Viking Raiders technically beat the Street Profits to tie it up 2-2. Pretty dumb segment overall. I still think I like the golf one the best of the four of them. We had Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss in a confrontation backstage with the Iconics. This set up a match which took place after the commercial break. Billie Kay defeating Nikki Cross to pick up some momentum. I'm guessing we'll get another tag match, maybe at the pay-per-view. Maybe it'll be the greatest women's tag team match ever. And then we had Drew McIntyre interviewed about MVP and talked about if anybody wants to step up, not just MVP and Bobby Lashley, he'll take anybody to claim more country. I thought this was going to be a Dominik Dijakovic run-in at the end, but spoiler alert, no Dominik Dijakovic on this show. So despite the rumors, he did not appear on Raw, and we'll have to wait and see if he shows up in a week or two, if we start getting video packages. Who knows? We then had Rey Mysterio interviewed via satellite from his home, talking about his status with WWE after the eye injury courtesy of the Messiah, Seth Rollins. And the question was asked, is he retiring? Mysterio doesn't know. It might not even be his decision at this point. He could be cleared in a few weeks, but he might never be cleared. Then all of a sudden, Dominik, Rey's son, came into the camera view and started talking. He said that Seth Rollins is no Messiah. He's barely even a human being. And something needs to be done, damn it. Rey Mysterio finished the promo, well, thought he was finishing it, by saying, "Damn Seth Rollins for everything that Rollins has put his family through." And Rey said he will never forgive Seth Rollins. What a Christian man that Rey Mysterio is to not forgive Seth Rollins. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, "Where is the jobber team Cedric Alexander and Ricochet? They just were not on this show. Creative has nothing for them. They could challenge for the tag titles, but, you know, we got stuff with the Street Profits going on and the Viking Raiders. Street Profits are still the tag champs, right? I seriously don't even know at this point. I think Street Profits are the tag champs, but I'm so uninterested in the tag division that I'm not even sure right now. I think it's the Street Profits. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Rey Mysterio walked off, and yes, they are the tag champs. Mysterio walked off, and Dominik finished the promo. Said that Seth Rollins is a man of scripture, and thus Dominik has some words for Seth. An eye for an eye. Will this be a swerve? Will Dominik become a disciple? Will that be the big heel turn for Dominik Mysterio? We had Nia Jax versus Kairi Sane, which was a match that was talked about quite a bit over the past week because a spoiler came out that Kairi was injured during this match. Before the match, Nia cut a promo, said she did not start this rivalry. It was 2-on-1, and she said, "Don't believe the hype about Asuka. Asuka was just handed the title by Becky Lynch." We had the match, and Asuka was watching backstage. Kairi got a little bit of offense, but then they brawled on the outside of the ring, and that's when Nia threw Kairi head first into the steel steps, and Kairi was legit busted open, cut open from going into the steps head first. WWE had to edit this down. There were several minutes where Kairi was being checked out, and they eventually determined she could finish the match. And literally, they just went right to the finish. Nia brought Kairi in the ring, did a leg drop, and pinned her. But the whole sequence of her being checked on that was edited out. So it was literally just Kairi went into the steps, cut to a shot of the fans, and then Nia threw her back in the ring hit the leg drop and pinned her. Looking at it, I know a lot of people hate on Nia Jax, but to me it looked like Kairi lost her footing, and that caused her to go headfirst, crashing in a manner that she would not normally do had she not lost her footing. And it wasn't like Nia threw her into the steps as hard as she could. I mean, she just did a basic throw, and then Kairi kind of lost her footing. So I don't know if I would put this one on Nia. I know a lot of people are very quick to jump on her and blame her, but this just looked to me like a freak accident. The game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Says Aaron Rift is more over than a Nia Jax promo. Well, I will not deny that one. Hamp Connell with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, will Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio fight for custody of Dominic? That would be funny if they went full circle and did that again. But I don't think they'll do that. If anything happens here, I think Dominic's going to go heel, turn against his father. Maybe they could bring that up, though. He could be like, I never forgot how you feuded with Eddie and you guys had my whole future on the line in a ladder match. Like, he could totally play up on that. So I'm curious to see what they do with Dominic. After the Nia match with Kairi, Asuka ran down and Nia fled the scene. Ken Terminated by Google sent in a $5 super chat. Says, Hamp Connell, maybe Dominic will turn on his dad and join Seth Rollins like the Sandman's son joined Raven's flock in ECW. Yeah, I mean, very well could happen, especially with Seth Rollins being the cult leader, brainwashing people. We could very well see something like that happen. We had video footage of Rob Gronkowski in Massachusetts, I guess his home. I'm not even sure, nor do I really care. He was there and he was doing this TikTok dance video, and there was a guy working out, well, not working out, but just doing work on his lawn. He had no idea who this person was. And then all of a sudden his friend pulled off his shirt to reveal a WWE referee shirt. R-Truth came in with the fruit roll-up because that's the only way you can win the 24/7 title. I'm kidding, but literally that's how every title change goes down. R-Truth got his baby back. He's the new 24/7 hardcore I-95 champion of the world, and nobody cares. Well, at least I don't. We had a recap of Edge cutting his promo about Randy Orton. Randy Orton issued a response. He brought up how Ric Flair praised him, and Orton admitted that Edge was right about Orton not having the passion. Orton said, yeah, it's true. He does phone it in, but he has still accomplished more than Edge or anybody else, even when he's been phoning it in. And then Orton finished off the promo by saying that Edge's storybook ending is going to be rewritten by the three most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment, the RKO. We had Charlotte versus Asuka, champion versus champion. Charlotte cut her usual pre-match promo, told the Performance Center fans to respect her. It said she wants one of them to eventually become the next Rhea Ripley or Io Shirai so they could step up to the throne and then bow down. We had this match. Charlotte was trash talking about how she beat Asuka twice. Asuka made a comeback, got a couple near falls, tried to win by submission, and then Charlotte hit a big boot to knock Asuka to the outside of the ring. All of a sudden, Asuka's music started playing, and we had Nia Jax coming out, imitating Asuka, complete with a mask. And Asuka got distracted, but because it was on the outside of the ring, she got counted out. And then Nia ran down, gave Asuka a clothesline. And that, my friends, was that. I guess the segment was okay. Whatever. Asuka got counted out because she got distracted. I guess better than getting pinned, but still. It's like you do a champion versus champion match. I mean, you shouldn't have booked it in the first place if you're not going to do a clean finish, but that's WWE for you. Advertise the big match and then just do a count out or something. We had Lana interviewed backstage, and we had a recap shown of her argument with MVP from last week, or actually earlier on the show. And then she said that Bobby Lashley told her to not come out for his matches, but never said anything about going out there for MVP's match. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, at least Nia Jax is more over than the Forgotten Sons. Well, at least in the eyes of Twitter, I think even EC3 is more over than the Forgotten Sons right now, especially Jackson Riker. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, head over to NoDQ.com and you can see what people are saying about the man formerly known as Gunner. We had our main event, and Lashley came out before MVP could make his entrance. Drew McIntyre came out, and then Lana. She kept her promise. She came out there. Drew McIntyre was very amused by this. Pretty short match here. We had less than 10 minutes to go on Raw. MVP briefly got some heat on McIntyre, due to some distracting on the outside from Lashley. MVP threw Drew McIntyre into the plexiglass. Drew made a comeback, sent MVP to the outside, and then did a dive onto both MVP and Lashley. Drew got MVP back in the ring, did the countdown, hit the Claymore, but then was immediately attacked by Lashley with the full Nelson. And, I mean, this was literally at 11 o'clock. And Lashley got the full Nelson on for about 5 seconds before Raw faded to black, and that was the end. Weird how a taped show, they cut this show so short. That was pretty strange. Hamp Connor with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your super chats, and special thanks to Caleb Jacobs for a very generous one earlier. Says, how many more CVC matches do we have to watch? All right, pardon my ignorance, but what is CVC? I'm not even sure what that means, so I'm just going to move ahead here and not think about it. I'm sure somebody will help me out here. I'm old, guys, so if you start abbreviating things, I might not know what I'm talking about. Oh, champ versus champ. Yeah, I've never thought of that. So, yeah, I'm starting to go a little senile here, guys. So you got to cut me some slack with the abbreviations. All right, letter grade. Singles match turned into a tag match. Letter grade down. And quite frankly, long promo followed by long match. Letter grade down. Hamp Connor with a $2 super chat says they did it so everybody would tune into Raw Talk. Yeah, maybe. I guess that would make sense. But I did not turn into Raw Talk. And a lot of you, maybe some of you are watching both. Who knows? So Raw, I thought, was kind of boring this week. It felt like a taped show, as I said. Really wasn't anything too significant. Like, if you missed it, you really didn't miss much. I'm giving it a C-. Slightly below par Raw. Just did not have that must-feel vibe. Like, I don't know. Just felt like pretty much a filler show. Hamp Connor with a C- says, started off good but ended badly. Curtis Butler says, pacing good but a strong C. Michael Wayne with a C-. Shaddy Snake with a D-. Mr. Anderson with a C. J-Spin 401 with a D+. CC Drink with a C. Matt Helms with a C+. The Game is on 100 with a C-. Jeremy Dorset with a C. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who's more over, Bart Gunn, WCW Mongo, or Jackson Riker? Well, for those of you that are not aware, and thank you for the super chat, Mongo has a Twitter account dedicated just to him and his numerous botches in WCW. Mongo was generally considered to be one of the worst wrestlers of all time, like a guy that had some name value with his football background, but really could not cut it in the wrestling ring. And yeah, there's a whole Twitter account dedicated to him. So until Jackson Riker has his own Twitter account, I think Bart Gunn has some notoriety, and Mongo, of course, has his own Twitter account. So yeah, I would say Bart Gunn first because he did win the Brawl for All. Mongo because he got to be with the Horsemen, and Jackson Riker dead last. So that's all I got, guys, for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, for NXT TakeOver In Your House predictions. I'll be joined with members of Team No DQ. We'll be talking about the matches. You guys can comment, leave your predictions, and we'll feature some of them on the screen during the live stream. Please keep spreading the word about NoDQ.com. And I will see you guys next time. Stay positive and stay safe.